it's Christine here with Cam from Unchained Capital at the NAPE Expo at the Bitcoin Mining Pavilion. Cam leads the sales team at Unchained Capital, and we're really excited to have him with us today. Cam, you've been in Texas for how long?
Coming up on 2 years, so a year and a half, but you know how time goes in Bitcoin. It seems like it's been 10 years in the best way possible.
Absolutely. And you were in the Bitcoin space before you came to Texas, correct? Or did you come here to work for Unchained?
I actually came here to work for Unchained, so my wife was nice enough to let us come down, move our kids and family across the country from Minnesota to Texas for Bitcoin to work in Austin out of our headquarters there.
Okay, so you came to Texas for Bitcoin, for Unchained Capital. How's it been for you so far?
It's been fantastic. To be able to be in the Bitcoin community every day has been phenomenal. We've got the Bitcoin Commons, which is a part of our offices. It's really a community space to help bring together anybody who's working on a project in Bitcoin. We've got a ton of incredible sponsors, and Marty Dent's podcast studio is out of there. So it really feels like I get to be in the epicenter of a lot of the development that's occurring in Bitcoin. And then on top of that, being able to travel to conferences like this and to go to Dallas and just to interact with all the Bitcoin miners and oil and gas professionals that are starting to get involved in Bitcoin. So there's so much happening at all facets of Bitcoin here in Texas.
It's so true. I've been to some of your events myself. They're great. Up at the Dallas one, and you've got one in Houston. If you got one in Austin, love it. Now, for some of our listeners who've never heard about Unchained, tell us a little bit about your product.
Sure. So we help our clients to hold Bitcoin themselves in the most secure way possible. So whether that's individuals, if it's Bitcoin miners, if it's institutions that have, or small or mid-sized businesses that have nothing to do with Bitcoin, but they see the problems with fiat, they don't want to hold as much cash on their balance sheet, and they want to hold a portion of that in Bitcoin. We've got an institutional solution that helps them across a team to be able to securely hold Bitcoin. But the main reasons I'm here today are to help individuals and Bitcoin miners to learn about how to hold their own Bitcoin keys.
Fantastic. Now, you said it's a secure solution. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that? And
yes. So all Bitcoin are secured by keys, as you know. I know you know.
Right.
So we help clients to hold their own keys, and we set up a 2 of 3 multi-signature vault, which is a mouthful for sure. But what I tell people is imagine a digital safe deposit box that has 3 keys that control the Bitcoin. Our clients hold 2, and then we hold 1 as a backup. So clients are in full control, but if they somehow make a mistake, they lose a key, no problem. We're here as that backup. So it's a way to keep that Bitcoin stored offline in multiple locations, and then also have a professional services partner here in Unchained to help them.
I imagine people are so grateful for that, because it's a scary step to take a large amount of your net worth into your own possession. And so to have that backstop where if something gets lost or someone breaks into your house, even if you gave them one of those keys or you had one in the lockbox across the street at the bank or something, there's no one single point of failure.
That's exactly right. And that's what, we do a lot of education too, just like you do, going out, talking to folks, helping them understand Bitcoin on a fundamental level, but then also technically, how do you actually buy it? How do you secure it? And that is the hurdle that they need to understand for themselves, because they're thinking, well, I'm not going to buy it if I'm going to store it somewhere like an FTX or a BlockFi, and that firm is just going to not exist in a year or two. So they really need to understand, how am I actually going to hold this for the long term and before they actually invest any material amount of their wealth in it.
Yeah. And so your company, I know, does a lot of education. You also do have an onboarding service where you walk them, hold their hand. What have you seen lately just with, you mentioned FTX and then Celsius and BlockFi and just so many things blowing up with the centralized exchanges. I know I have one of your cups at home during the exchanges.
Yeah.
What has been the response? Are people more warming up to the idea of taking possession of their own coins? What are you seeing in the space?
They really are. It's still, in terms of people's general understanding of counterparty risk and the fact that Bitcoin is a bearer asset, so they need to think about it, how they custody it differently from how they custody their other assets.
Elaborate. I know what it means,
Okay.
but a bearer asset, because it's a great word.
Good question. So it means that whoever controls the key in Bitcoin, it means that whoever controls the keys has 100% unilateral control of that Bitcoin. It is their Bitcoin. So it's very important to think about who's actually holding the keys. Is it you or is it someone else that you're trusting to hold it? And then how are you actually holding those keys? So to your question, every time we saw one of these implosions of Celsius or Voyager or BlockFi or FTX, we saw waves of clients coming to us. So tough year for the industry in general in a lot of ways in 2022, but we nearly doubled the number of clients that we have holding Bitcoin holding Bitcoin themselves in cold storage because of this realization that if someone else is holding my Bitcoin keys, it's not actually mine, or there's a good chance that I'll never recover that, unfortunately. So they're coming to us looking for that surety that I can sleep at night. I don't have to worry about waking up and reading the headlines tomorrow that my Bitcoin custodian has been defrauding me, or frankly, or is no longer in business.
And are you seeing more interest from individuals, retail, or business, or both?
Primarily from individuals. Businesses just kind of naturally in the adoption curve it takes longer for multiple individuals on a team to understand and adopt Bitcoin than it does on the individual basis, right? So what we find is that typically the individual adopts Bitcoin and then they start to educate their other partners in an organization as a Bitcoin miner or any organization, and then they come on as a team and use our custody solution for their business.
I imagine it's got a great use case for business because the fact that two partners can hold a different key, so you keep each other honest in a sense. You've got your team holding one and maybe two partners each holding a different key. Nobody can do anything without the two.
Exactly right. And then even on top of the security provided by the keys, we've added an application layer to provide an even greater set of controls. So you could have two key holders, but then you could have a CFO, you could have your president, you could have your COO that have the ability to be involved in those transactions. They can hold keys, they don't have to hold keys, and then you can have other parties that have view-only access to be able to make sure the Bitcoin is there, download reports, view balances, make sure everything that is up to the snuff, but don't necessarily need to hold keys. There's a whole range of permissions that we can help companies to apply when they're thinking about custodying their Bitcoin.
That's so great because I think there's such a thirst right now everywhere for transparency, especially in the financial industry and what happened with FTX, and they didn't really have the Bitcoin that they said they had. That capacity for people to have a view only of, any project that they're participating in. This is a great service. Now, so we're here at NAPE, the Energy Industry Expo. What brings Unchained Capital to a conference like this?
It's part of our mission is to help Bitcoin miners to be able to hold their own keys. So that is why we're here, because what I found so far is that for Bitcoin miners, they have so many other priorities before they get to the point of, okay, we've got this Bitcoin, we've mined it. Now what do we do with it? It's an afterthought, and kind of rightly so, right? They have to they either talking to Giga or Upstream with acquiring their gensets and the ASICs and the containers. They're talking with folks who own oil and gas wells, and they're figuring out what is going to be the source of their energy. So by the time it gets to the point where they've held Bitcoin and they can actually hold some, they're having to sell most of it in most cases. But when they can retain some on their balance sheet, then where do they hold it? And so that's where Unchained is stepping into that void, and we want to help them to hold it, again, in what we believe is the most secure way possible. Hold your own keys. Don't let someone else hold your own keys, and have that hard-earned Bitcoin be part of another FTX.
Wow. So the Bitcoin miners are here to court the energy industry, and you're here to court the Bitcoin miners.
Yes.
Very nice. And are you seeing a lot of interest from the miners? Are they hearing about your product? I know in Texas people know of you, but I don't know, is it new for them or more people hearing about what you're doing?
More people are, but it's still, we have a lot of good work to do to get Unchained's message out there and help people to hold Bitcoin in the right way. But I'm definitely pleasantly surprised by the reactions I've been getting for everybody. I think there's a general sense that Bitcoin's not going away. People feel, I know I need to learn about this at some point. And even oil and gas operators that aren't Bitcoin mining yet, they have been approached with offers to mine Bitcoin. They're considering it. They're figuring out how to get started. So my message to them, a lot of them has been, get some skin in the game. Buy a little bit for yourself, hold it, get the experience with it, and then I think that's a natural first step to mining it.
Wonderful. Well, Thank you for taking the time with us today, Kim, and sharing with our audience about what you do. And we'll have some information below the video about how to get in touch with you. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks so much, Christine.
Absolutely. Subscribe, like, and follow us for more content like this about what's going on in the Bitcoin space and blockchain and beyond.
Hey everybody, Ryan Harper. I'm sitting at the NAPE Summit 2023 here in Houston, Texas at the TBC PubJect Power podcast booth. And I just wanted to give a couple of updates about the summit and what we have planned. We just went live with our ticketing, and I just sent an email out to, 5,000 plus people to get early bird ticketing. But that's not why I wanted to do a video. One of the things I wanted to convey is what we have planned, what we have aspirations to be, and how we see the summit being moving forward. The last 2 years have been amazing events, and it's been centralized around Texas, centralized around policy, and great efforts in Austin, Texas. Moving forward, we want to have a much bigger footprint. We're going to be in Fort Worth in November 15th and 16th. We're going to be at the convention center. We're going to have a trade show floor. We're going to have speakers that you didn't think that we could get. We have aspirations to get some high quality, high profile people, both in policy, both in political world, and in the Bitcoin blockchain digital asset space. We're going to have workshops, we're going to have startups, we're going to have universities, we're going to have nonprofits. We're going to have opportunities for startups to pitch their products. We're going to have opportunities for nonprofits to kind of showcase what they're doing, their social initiative. Our goal is to include everything that enterprise, blockchain, Bitcoin, digital asset space would want in an event. Bitcoin Miami is amazing. Consensus is amazing. Both of those events have 20,000 plus people, but both those events are probably more of your retail space. Our goal is to make the summit the premier policy, Bitcoin, blockchain, digital asset space for everyone across the country. If you're an enterprise, if you're professional, if you want to do deals, if you want to make real change, the summit is where you need to be. This video was supposed to be 30 seconds. You're welcome. Anyway, we look forward to giving you more updates, and we'll see you at the summit.